Hi, this is Arvid from EconExplains, and welcome to this video on the dark side of solar panel subsidies. Renewable energy sources, such as solar panels, are important in combating climate change, and governments around the world have subsidized their adoption. But how much should governments subsidize, and how should they do it? This is where the real challenges begin, especially in the market for a new technology with rapidly changing prices. So in this video, we will discuss an ill-designed subsidy scheme that has led to a large financial burden for its citizens. And that financial burden, which results to this day in a much higher energy bill, is the dark side of an ill-designed subsidy policy. But before we jump in, I want to thank Frank Verboven and Olivier de Grootte, two professors on whose academic work I have drawn for this video. They provided me with some data and have graciously answered many of my questions. But as they say in academics, all errors are my own. The subsidy scheme we will discuss was operational in Flanders, a region in Belgium from 2006 to 2013. At the beginning of this time period, solar panels were a new technology and they were quite expensive. Let's see this graphically. The data goes from 2006 to 2013, and the vertical axis is in euro, and all prices are inflation adjusted to 2013. The black line is the price of a 4 kilowatt solar panel in Belgium. Now, as you can see, the price of solar panels is decreasing over time, going from a high of 27,000 euro to a low of 10,000 euro in 2013. Now, the blue line is all the benefits you get from installing a solar panel, both from subsidies and from your own production, valued at a 3% interest rate, the rate at which the government could borrow. Now, these benefits consist of net metering, the value of your own expected production over the lifetime of a solar panel. And then there are the benefits of the green current certificates. These certificates are a subsidy based on your electricity production for up to 20 years. Importantly, these subsidies did not depend on the price of a solar panel, but on electricity production. For example, for a long time, they were 450 euros per megawatt hour, a standard way to express electricity generation. Now, one way to think about these green current certificates is to think of them in terms of the price of electricity. If your net metering gets you a savings of 100% of the electricity cost, then the green current certificates added another 50 to 250% benefits on top of this for up to 20 years. So in total, net metering and these green current certificates give you a value of 100% to 350% of your electricity bill. Finally, the last benefits of getting a solar panel were tax cuts and some direct subsidies for price. Now, another way to show the generosity of the subsidies is to take the ratio of benefits to costs. The black line, as you can see, is constant at 100% as it is the cost of a solar panel. The blue line now shows the ratio of benefits to costs. Similarly, for comparison, I show the benefits if you valued future benefits at an 8% or even a 15% interest rate. And you can see that at market-conform interest rates, the benefits of getting a solar panel were much larger than the costs during almost the entire period. Yet, despite the generosity of the subsidies in the year 2006 to 2008, adoption only really started picking up in 2009, however. The authors, in their academic work, estimate that this is only reconcilable with a discount rate of 15%, which is incredibly high. But regardless of the discount rate used, when the adoption started, it exploded. To show this graphically, this figure shows the percentage of households with solar panels for Flanders, Wallonia, and Brussels. But looking at the Flanders line, our focus, denoted with the blue dashed line, as you can see, from 2009 to 2012, there is a rapid adoption of solar panels that took place and then kind of leveled off. So why this sudden adoption? Well, part of the problem was that the certificate subsidies were flat subsidies on electricity production. In other words, these subsidies were not tied to the price and therefore stayed constant. And as you recall, solar panels started decreasing more rapidly from 2009 to 2013. So the relative profitability of solar panels started to go up as well. As you can see in this graph, starting in 2009, the relative profitability started to increase. And even at a 50% interest rate, the benefit-cost ratio was positive. This adoption took the government by surprise. But the government did try to react, but it simply reduced the subsidy level a few times. A first adjustment in January 2010, then 3 adjustments in 2011, and then 4 adjustments in 2012. But as solar panels kept decreasing in price, the adjustment of the government kept not being enough. And I highlighted a few here. But you can see that the benefit-cost ratio wasn't really impacted by the initial changes of the government. Serious subsidy reductions only started kicking in at the end of 2012. And in general, the lesson here is that it is hard to set a one-time level of subsidies and expect that to be accurate going forward, especially in a dynamic market with rapidly falling prices. Finally, I want to stress that generous subsidies or a high solar panel adoption rate by themselves are not the issue. But the combination of very generous subsidies and higher than expected take-up rates can lead to a massive financial burden. And estimates are that between 2015 and 2020, around 1/3 of the electricity bill in Flanders was devoted for payments for renewable energy, and this mostly to pay off the overly generous subsidies for solar panels. And these payments for installed capacity are likely to be going on for at least another decade. And besides being expensive, the program was very inefficient. To see this, we can use the social cost of carbon as a reference. This is an estimate of the damage you cause to others by emitting CO2. And the social cost of carbon has been estimated to be around 30 euros per ton of CO2. On the other hand, it is estimated that the subsidy program reduced CO2 at a cost of 652 euros per ton of CO2. So the price of reducing CO2 was more than 20 times the estimated damage. And compared to estimates of other programs that I have seen, or an alternative like a carbon tax, this is a very expensive way to reduce climate change. So what are some solutions? Well, in 2013, the Flemish government learned from its mistakes and created a subsidy mechanism based on a rate of return approach, as the subsidy level now adjusted to the market prices of solar panels. Of note is that a similar approach was used in Germany. An alternative option, as was done in the United States, is to put a stronger focus on upfront subsidies instead of promising benefits on electricity generation for a very long time window. In conclusion, while subsidies for renewable energy sources are important, they need to be carefully planned and executed, especially in markets with rapidly changing prices. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.